welcome back to my channel. My name is Mia, and today I have for you two short poetry reviews. I read both of these poetry collections during the underhyped Reads Readathon, and they were both pretty enjoyable, one a little bit more than the other one. Let's start with this short poetry collection here called The Hows and Whys of My Failures, and this is by Dan Nowak. This poetry collection had 0 ratings on Goodreads, which is insane. It was pretty enjoyable, however, I was not a huge fan of the actual writing style of the poetry because I found it to be a little bit difficult for me to read. The stories that this poetry collection tells are basically everyday life stories and struggles, relationship-based, self-esteem based, and so on. The way in which the majority of this poetry collection is written is like this. So it looks kind of like short paragraphs for the most part, and the difficult thing is that I feel like the words just kind of run into each other and it was hard to decide how to read it because it does have some punctuation, but I feel that it does not have enough. But as you can see, I did enjoy quite a few of the poems in this collection, and I would like to share a couple of them with you today. That way you can decide whether it's something that interests you enough to pick it up or not. One of the poems that I would like to share with you today is called Behind the Pretty Lights, and it says, "You tell me that you can judge distances through the night sky, say miles are mere photons, or maybe even quarts. You tell me colors can make you dance, and those aren't even the extra bright ones. You fit your hand into mine and tell me it doesn't fit because I can feel the spaces between your fingers. You speak in your stubborn tongue. You do it because it's easier than knowing I'll be making coffee in the morning or trusting me to understand silence is meant to be silent. The things you tell me are never as confusing as you hope. Sometimes you keep the pretty lights behind your eyes. The other times you use them to put the right amount of distance between my body and yours." Another one that I would like to share with you today is called Transference. "I start to wonder if it's possible to make my eyes open whenever I pull the trigger that doesn't feel nearly as long as I imagine it can. And the 9mm barks down the cement walls like a dog that doesn't know why to be angry or even if there's a reason to be mad but barks anyway. And I flinch like I'm about to get hit with a book across the face. Nothing serious, just enough to make me question why words can be so heavy sometimes. And I want to keep my eyes open and see if I can watch the bullet fly and breeze through the paper like paper, even though I know I can't because I cannot see sound, and that is twice the speed of the barking. But I still want to see. I want to see what forces this anger into metal jackets and what it looks like whenever that ricochets off of the walls, off of the floor, off of everything that isn't me." And the last poem that I would like to share with you from this collection is called Why I Can Never Invite You Over After I Drink Moscato All Night. "It's always never been about the leprosy, but whenever we start kissing, I think about armadillos like armadillos don't drool. Their little drippy drip saliva doesn't taste a thing like yours, but how would I really know? Because I've never kissed all up on a dillo, nor did I ever think I worry about dillos until things got tough and cars got fast, and meals come off wheels, but not like your Gramps on the volunteer whose butt he pinches. Ain't no one that altruistic. You know this 'cause I know this 'cause I can't kiss you no more, with crazy armadillo eyes staring me down like everything is another moment away from falling off." I hope you guys enjoyed this small preview of this poetry collection. I personally ended up giving this collection 3 out of 5 stars because it was enjoyable, however it did not blow me away. The second poetry collection I would like to review today is called Getaway Girl, and this is by Terry Ann Faxon. Now, I loved this poetry collection. It was so extremely powerful. There was not one poem that I read that my throat did not choke up on because of all of the emotions and feelings that it invoked in me. This poetry collection was written in a much easier way to read and understand, which was a huge plus for me personally. As you can see, I have quite a few favorites, and at some point I was just wondering why didn't I decide to flag the ones I did not like, because I honestly liked every single one. These were just my favorite ones, but I enjoyed every poem inside this collection. I definitely want to look into Terry Ann Thackson's work. I want to find out about her and her life. This poetry collection was about somebody who's had a very difficult life and a lot of obstacles throughout their life, and they've slowly but surely have learned to overcome those obstacles, even though the scars left behind are exposed for everyone to see because they're so deep. I don't know if this poetry collection is inspired from her life and if things that are mentioned in this poetry collection have actually happened to her or not, because I didn't look into it, but I think I will, because I'm just so intrigued by everything. It's such a heartwarming and just devastating story. Of course, I will be sharing some of these poems with you so that you can once again decide whether it's something that interests you or not. Just so that you are warned, this poetry collection is very bold and it does have topics that can be sensitive to some people. The first poem from this poetry collection that I would like to share with you today is the very first poem, which is titled Getaway Girl. So it's the same title as the book. It's a bit long. Hopefully this video is not too long, but this poem I think is worth mentioning and sharing. I think you'll set the mood for what the rest of the poems in this collection are like. Getaway Girl. Inside the house, red as a bruised peach, someone kicked me saying this is love. But I found my broken perfume bottles at the edge of the stone steps, my clothes hanging off branches, and my only escape was over homemade ball fields, where I found myself chased by headlights of the drunken car he drove that made the baby inside die. To remind me of the baby he buried under a pile of old garbage bags, the dog he shot. I put my hands through the front window to make him stop, but every night in my dreams I looked for the baby I lost, tearing dress after dress out of the branches. My black coat hid the face I kept trying to lose, and when he left to buy apologies at the card shop, I hoped he would not return. There were other times I waited for him, committed crimes for him, like the time I kept the motor running in a truck at the edge of a deserted road while he rolled heavy electric spools from construction sites, carried stacks of lumber, and then scattered nails, hammers, and paint into the truck bed. I was his getaway girl. I remember him urinating on me as if I were a stone statue by Picasso. I wanted someone to take him to Africa and lay him under the heads of elephants. I wanted to see him dead in a lake of grass. Instead, he kept pinning me against the wall, tying me to the floor. And I smelled the heat of Florida coming up through the tiles in the bathroom. I begged my grandmother to lift her arms from her grave, grab his fist, his ankles, and tie him to the damp, unforgiving earth. I hope that poem gave you a good idea of just how intense this poetry is. Another one that I really enjoyed reading, even though it was extremely sad for me to read, is called A Different Life. When you leave your child under 24-hour suicide watch and he's 11 and a prisoner in a private war, you blame yourself for the cars he dove in front of the buildings he jumped from, the walls of the bedroom he banged his head on, the clothes you armed him with in the morning, the same clothes he shred in the afternoons. You blame yourself for the time you left him screaming at the daycare, and that woman washed his mouth out. You blame yourself for not knowing how to do this right. You walk out of the hospital into an uncaring afternoon and you reach for, what do you reach for? The trees with leaves that fall apart? The clouds that are really nothing? The sun? This will be the last one that I'll share with you. Again, keep in mind this poetry is very, very hard to swallow at times. So this one is called Wallpaper. Purple hills and green houses run together in the wallpaper around my room. My daddy runs his hands down, gliding over the cut edges where they join with paste. The paste holds down my tongue. Do you like it? I swallow so daddy's princess can exist. Stare over heels into darkness beyond green houses, where people live happily, where purple heels are not bruises, where little girls laugh. No, daddy loves his princess more. He buys wallpaper. Mommy sees the edges peel, super glues them down so no one sees. It's silly to have wallpaper like that. Why did you ask for it anyway? I did not ask for it. I dropped my head, closed my eyes. Inside my head, crowds of people run away with me to the other side of the room and wait into the corner under the window, ready to throw our weightless bodies out into the purple hills, ready to stay away for a long time, all night if we have to. Princess will know when it's time to return, when Daddy leaves her alone again, when he tells her to forget. It's important to be quiet. Do you like it? No, Daddy, I don't. Those are just but a few of this strong, amazing poetry that is within this little tiny booklet. I really do recommend this poetry collection as long as it would not bother you to read such difficult topics. I ended up giving this poetry collection 5 out of 5 stars. As I mentioned earlier, I do want to read more poetry by this poet. So if you know of any other works by her, please leave me some recommendations in the comment section down below and I will definitely check them out. I hope you guys enjoyed this short review. I'm not the best when it comes to reviewing poetry yet, but I do enjoy reading poetry and I would like to share my love for poetry with you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If so, and you give me a thumbs up, I will be forever grateful to you. It means a lot to me to know what kind of videos you guys enjoy most. And if you haven't seen any of my videos before and you're intrigued enough to subscribe, I would be delighted with that as well. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you very soon in another video.